Hey everybody, welcome to another Nacho Tuesday. And today I have Sean Griffith with SimpleTexting here today to talk about his product and introduce a little bit about what they're doing with SMS marketing, and also as an experienced professional in the space, give you a great oversight into where SMS marketing is today, where it's come from, but more importantly, where it's going. So without further ado, I'd love to get an elevator pitch from you, Sean, on your product and what it's capable of doing.
Yeah, excellent. Look, thanks so much, first of all, for having me here today, Andy, and inviting Simple Texting in for the conversation. Little sort of very quick elevator pitch on Simple Texting. We've been around for about 14 years now, which is, I guess, a long time in the tech space, really. We really cater. Simple Texting is a text messaging service for primarily SMBs, right, to communicate with their customers in a really personalized and sort of engaging way. What sets Simple Texting apart, right, is really how easy it is to send mass text messages, so one to many, as well as carry on really great conversational messaging in sort of a one-to-one format. And that's something that people really, really like, and is really sort of driving SMS generally forward in this conversational way.
Great. And so, like, as an example, maybe like a hotel might have like an SMS line where you could text in if you have any particular issue with your room, and you could just, instead of picking up the phone and call somebody, you could just talk directly with one of the staff and get an immediate answer.
Yeah, that's right. So one of the really cool things about Simple Texting is that the use cases are so varied, right? So it's a great example is sort of a hotel. You think of it of a restaurant when you check in at the hotel, right? You get a text message when your table's ready. You get messages from your favorite retailer, right, on a regular basis, or an appointment reminder from your doctor, right? There's lots of different examples about how businesses are leveraging and communicating with many different types of customers, internal customers as well. We see that as being, engaging with employees around benefits or time off. Those sort of things is really common now, really driven through the pandemic.
Hopefully not layoff texts.
Yeah. We've never seen one of those yet, but yeah, the world's a crazy place.
Yeah, I don't recommend it for anybody listening to this.
Yeah.
So SMS has been around for a while, of course. We talked about that before, but what are businesses still missing out on today when it comes to SMS and mobile marketing that they should be using to utilize these channels more effectively?
Yeah. I think, mobile messaging and SMS specifically, I think it's the sort of the immediacy of it that is so great, right? When you send a text message, you get it instantly, and about 98% of people look at virtually all of their text messages, and most about 90% within about 3 minutes, right? So you think about how quick that is compared to how many other channels. We sort of think about it as the universal inbox, right? Everybody has a phone and everybody looks at their messages. So we think it's really great in that respect. It's also what's considered an opt-in channel, right? So people who you're sending messages to truly want to receive these messages from you, so they're more likely to act on those messages.
Yeah, and that's really key for people, because a lot of people are just trying to start. I get a bunch of them every day myself. To your point about screen time, I mean, we spend so much time on our phones. So if you want to reach me or anybody else for that matter, it's the best place to do it. But a lot of companies do it the wrong way, right? They'll just throw you on a list and start sending you messages. And that's obviously a big no-no.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's something that we really pride ourselves in, right? Is really, the sort of compliance aspect and how we help our customers gain opt-in. So that way it really is all about the list, right? You're building a great list of people who want to hear from you, leads to better ROI or engagement from your messages in the long run. So it's really, really helpful.
So I'd like you to expand more on the mobile marketing landscape today, right? So you mentioned a couple examples, like being able to communicate with front of the house staff at say a hotel, maybe internal communications with employees. Do you have any other ways that marketers could roll out a mobile strategy that might work for their business?
Yeah, so we really see the future as being sort of a multi-pronged approach to mobile messaging, right? One is this sort of mass messaging. We think it's going to continue to survive for a long time. That's really important. But we see a shift into more conversational messaging.
Yeah.
Fewer people want to pick up the phone and make a call today. So when you're heading out somewhere, if you can engage with a business through a text message, right, or other sort of mobile channels, that's really powerful. And so we're trying to, create the platform where businesses can engage with their users, however their users want to be engaged with. So we think that's text messaging right now. And that will likely shift over time. But really, conversational messaging to build strong relationships with customers is what we see as the future.
What are your thoughts on, say, like chatbots on websites, and maybe even the use of AI if we want to go there?
Yeah, look, AI is a hot topic. We should go there for a second, but yeah. Chatbots on websites are really great. We use one on our website, for instance, right? So we're huge fans of that, and it's been sort of really instrumental in our business, is connecting with people in that way. And we see text messaging or mobile messaging engagement as a complement to a lot of those other channels. So when you think about a lot of channels, you think about, can email and SMS live together? And our answer is yes, right? We really think that customers want to, have ability to communicate with businesses in a lot of different ways. So that may be, a chatbot on a website using some AI. We're testing that out now, or it may be a conversation via SMS. And oftentimes, you'll start a conversation one place and you'll want to move the conversation as you move to another channel.
And have the same context if possible, so you don't have to repeat yourself.
That's right, exactly right. And that's one of the trickiest parts is, sort of tying all these channels together is difficult. So that's something that we're really actively working on, right? How can we make sure that it's a seamless experience?
Let me guess. Does the AI feature that you're working on have any way of determining context of the conversation from multiple channels and combining it together into one?
Yeah, that's the dream, right? So we're going to start with some lighter AI features, right? Which maybe a little bit more familiar in some of the things that have already launched, right? Can we find ways to tweak a message, right, to make it more concise or a little bit longer, or change the tone of it, right? That's pretty sort of basic stuff. How can we help folks craft better messages that get more engagement? That's really interesting, and we've got something really exciting coming up in that space in the next couple of days, actually, which is great. And then lots of future plans there as well.
Great, yeah, definitely keep us informed with that. We'd love to announce it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I guess, in your opinion, what do most businesses get wrong with their mobile marketing efforts, aside from, just like we mentioned before, throwing a bunch of names on the list and spamming people over and over again?
I think that's the number one thing, right? I think because a lot of businesses are really sort of new to text messaging in a lot of way in this sort of implementation anyway. It's sort of very aspirational in the beginning. You do have to give it a little bit of time, right? So you've got to make sure that you're doing those things to build a great opt-in list, and then you give it the time for that list to grow, and that's where you really start to see the engagement come from. Great strategy in the beginning, which involves building a really great compliant list, and then giving a little bit of time to sort of see that come to life. And then the other thing is maybe not being as valuable to the recipients as you could be, right? Just sending out a text blast, right, is not going to do it. You've got to provide some value to the users, whether that be a discount or content or something that really resonates with the audience.
Yeah, a lot of times, the businesses, we always think from our perspective, right? So, hey, I'm trying to help people here, unless we talk about ourselves too much. But
yeah.
Put ourselves in the other people's shoes and think about, what's in it for them, right? So, anything we do in marketing, we always kind of keep that in mind, right? How do we add value to people instead of interrupting their daily processes? I guess, what other steps would you recommend for rolling out a mobile marketing strategy that works? You mentioned building a compliant list, kind of warming it up a little bit, having an offer that really resonates with people. Any other suggestions there if somebody's doing this for the first time?
Yeah. Think about how it interplays with the other channels that you're already using today, right? So I think creating a more sort of holistic strategy is really important. How one can complement another. I think that's really key. How do you trigger messages, right, based on customer action or events, for instance, right, which can be more contextual and relevant to the person getting the message? I think that's really, really key here. And we've seen that just, increase engagement tenfold.
Great. Can you give us an example maybe of like an ultra successful campaign that you've seen, and inversely, without naming company names, of course, an example of a campaign that went bad?
Yeah, so I think this was pretty early days, but we we had launched a mobile sign-up widget actually for text messaging, and we had a company called Toro Eyewear, and they tested it out very early on and saw just some incredible results, right? So you go to their webpage, you opt in to receive text message promotions. So you've probably seen these before out there. They're pretty popular. And they drove a ton of additional revenue in the first month of launching this. And what they did is a sort of 10% discount when folks signed up to it. And it was like 156x return on their ROI. It was just really, really incredible. So that's a really great success story. I was trying to think of sort of a failure here. And I can't think of any giant failures from sort of SimpleTexting customers, but there's lots of examples out there around, brands or companies who have gotten in trouble with text messaging, right, by sort of not following the rules. So there's lots of those out there for sure. That's where the sort of really great opt-in list comes into play.
Yeah, it's the small details that matter, and I feel like a lot of companies, to your point, kind of fail on the basics, where not building a good opt-in list, spamming people, the basic stuff that everybody should be looking out for when developing their strategy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We really, take a strong approach in the beginning to try and help our customers set up a great strategy, right? It's one of the things I think that sort of sets us apart is we've got a really strong team that's been with SimpleTexting for a good long while and growing very quickly, that sort of sits side by side with the customer and can help walk through what that strategy is like. We really, strong sort of customer support and customer success mentality at the company to really get our customers set off on the right foot.
Yeah. I'd love to see if you can maybe expand on some places where people could build their mobile subscriber list. What's an optimal point to request somebody to give you this information? Obviously, maybe at the end of an order screen or maybe during the order process, have a little checkbox there to allow you to communicate with people about their order and maybe some marketing promotions. I guess, is there some other examples that you might be able to share that might be broadly applicable to a lot of businesses?
Yeah, that's right. I think those are some of the key ones if you think about it from a sort of a traditional marketing perspective. The other ones that we see quite often are sort of events or activities, right? That's really common to help drive engagement in events and activities, right? So a sign up form if people are signing up, for anything, right? Music concert or volunteering activities, right? So you're going to want to have some sign up language, whether it be an online form, right? That checkbox is really key, right? And make it explicit that you're opting in to receive text messages. But it is all about that list. And then the other thing too is there are some slightly different regulations around the sort of more one-on-one style messaging, but the best thing to do is just make sure that you've got that opt-in covered in the beginning. So this could be for appointment reminders or delivery notifications or anything there.
That's great. So we'd love to dig a little bit deeper and learn more about your company and how it got founded. Know more of the backstory, I guess, here.
Yeah, you bet. So I actually joined SimpleTexting about 6 years ago, almost to the day exactly. So the company's been around a little bit longer than that. So I started working very closely with a couple of the founders. Like I said, the company was founded originally in about 2009. The founders had been in sort of the email space and said, hey, look, this text messaging thing seems to be interesting, right? So started to sort of pivot a little from the email path into SMS, and it's a good thing they did, right? I think that SimpleTexting is a really exciting platform, and spent a number of years sort of growing it in the beginning and bringing in some really exciting clients, and then over the last 6 years, we've really grown the business. We're actually acquired by another company called Cinch, which is a very large CPaaS company, which is really exciting. More leverage to go out there and build some really exciting things, and gives us access to a lot of these other channels as well. That is really going to help to propel SimpleTexting forward.
Oh, that's great. So what's I guess what's next for you guys? You mentioned the AI feature. When can people be on the lookout for that?
Yeah, so that is imminent. We're talking days away now for the sort of first rollout, which is going to be really exciting. So excited to get that out into the wild in not too long. We see mobile engagement, as we've already talked about, just really growing in the US market, certainly where we operate today, in Canada, as well as globally, and looking at the different channels there, right? That you could, we could actually really bolt into SimpleTexting to make it even more useful.
Yeah.
So that's key, right? We're looking at what other channels, so WhatsApp, for instance, right, or Google Business, or lots of different things, as well as how do we integrate with other platforms that users or customers are using today to bring that data together into one place. We see that as being a really great sort of evolutionary step for that. We have some of that today, but we see a lot more of that in our future.
Great call. Yeah, there's a lot of developments around direct-to-device technology as well through satellites.
Yeah.
So I'm sure there's a lot of people on mobile phones around the world, but that's going to expand the audience even more greatly. Won't it be funny, the first text message somebody gets with their new phone and someplace they never had it before, it's a marketing message.
That's right. Yeah, it's true. It happens out there a lot. So we're really excited. We think that the future, we see that the market generally is continuing to grow. Only about 20-25% of businesses today are actually using sort of text messaging as part of their strategy. And we think that number should be closer to 90%, right? So just to show sort of what the opportunity out there for businesses is.
Well, based on the level of engagement and the open rates that SMS gets, it's kind of a no-brainer for a lot of companies. But to your point, yeah, a lot of companies just don't even know where to start with it. So that's great that you provided some of the tips today to kind of help with that.
Yeah, we really see this as sort of like the entry point, right? It's so easy to get set up with SimpleTexting and get started. It's literally just a couple of minutes, and then you're sort of off and running. We can help with the rest.
Great. So I guess one thing I want to talk about today is failure as well, right? One thing I like to talk about as an entrepreneur myself, having failed many times and have my wins as well. You learn a lot from those, and I feel like that's always a good topic to bring up during these kind of webinars. I guess, is there a time where you failed, and what did you learn from that?
Yeah, absolutely. So more examples than I'd care to admit, probably, right? But yeah, for sure. I was, one of the things that I think has been really critical to success for me has been building a really solid team around myself and just at SimpleTexting generally. And we went through a period of time, I think, where you're growing really quickly, and you take your eye off the prize from a hiring perspective. And I think we probably made one or two hires a little too quickly. We generally follow they call the A method for hiring, or WHO method for hiring, and this has been really key for us. And we sort of pulled back on doing that for a little while, just given the market was moving so fast, right? And a number of different reasons. And when we did that, we sort of failed to hire at the sort of standard that we were used to. Luckily, we quickly pivoted. We made some tough decisions there, and then moved back to some of those foundational things that have just been really successful for us.
Great. I guess what kind of tips would you offer for people looking to hire and build a great company culture and team?
Yeah. Hire for culture, I think, is really, really important. So, a lot of things can be taught over time, right? So you certainly want to look for that capacity, but hiring for culture is really, really key for us. Sort of what the fit looks like at SimpleTexting. We're a really collaborative group, right? Everybody across the organization is talking to everybody else at some point, even though we're 150 people large. So that is really critical, right, for us. The other thing I would say is we spend an inordinate amount of time up front during that interview process. And sometimes it may actually be sort of a little scary for folks, but after they join, they look back on it as a really positive experience. So I think taking that time up front to get to know someone, making sure that it's a sort of really great mutual fit is certainly something I would recommend.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I just talked to an old friend of mine, Bryce Froberg, in a recent NachoTuesday. Actually, he recommended proficiency, their area of expertise, but one of the big things was ensuring that there is alignment between what their expectations were and what the company's expectations were too. Because if you have a good original foundation and setting for the relationship, it's much more likely to be successful going forward.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I totally agree with that. It's super good.
Awesome. So what kind of books are you reading these days? Any great ones you could recommend from the last year? Maybe one that you want to read this year, but you've been so busy you haven't got to it?
Yeah, I've got a few on that list, that's for sure. I did one that I consumed very quickly on a couple of flights not too long ago. Was Amp It Up by Frank Slootman, who was CEO at ServiceNow and Snowflake, right? Who a lot of folks use out there, very common today. And talked a lot about sort of raising expectations and urgency. I think especially in this age, it sort of has me thinking about it now again from the AI perspective, right? That the world moves so quickly, right? And we have to be able to make fast decisions. And I think it just really resonated with me, and I took a good amount of that one. So that's a recent read.
Great. Yeah, I'm sure there's probably an aspect of prioritizing which tasks are more important, and maybe using the Pareto principle, right? Maybe the one that takes 20% of the effort to get 80% of the results, knowing that
That's
you might
right.
not get a 100% solution just simply due to lack of resources and bandwidth. What other good takeaways did you get from that book?
Yeah, there was a lot about team in this one as well, right? And making sure that you've got that, the core team, I think, is really principal to success, right? It's the foundation of the business, I think, in a lot of ways, right? As well as just staying really well connected across the business. So learning, I spend time looking at support tickets or staying connected to our customer success team, and I think that brings a lot of really nice insights, and we talk about that a lot as a team.
Yeah, that's a great point. Getting in the trenches with your team members. I saw recently another publicly traded company. Their CEO that's just coming on board is actually going to be working at least one.
Yeah,
Is it Starbucks? I forget which one, but
yeah, it was Starbucks. Yeah, I saw this yesterday.
yeah, I thought that was really interesting. And honestly, I think more executives should do that actually, because being far away from the front lines, it's hard to kind of get into the weeds and the details of things to see why things are working and why they're not. But by spending that time up front there, I think they're going to get a lot of insights into how the actual operations and processes work at the customer level.
Yeah, that's right. It's something that we actually still do today. Is any new joiners will spend first couple of weeks largely in our sort of customer support team, and they get a lot of their sort of foundational learning there. I think it just allows you to see from a customer perspective really, really well, and so we think that that's been really helpful for us in our growth.
Yeah, definitely agree. Yeah, I mean, if you're building the product, you're marketing the product, running the company, having that qualitative understanding of that customer experience and how they really see things is, very beneficial in my opinion. So it's good that you guys do that.
Yeah, excellent.
Cool. So I guess what's next or we talked about that, but I guess what's one thing that you want potential customers to know about your business when deciding an SMS marketing platform, if they're going to compare you with, say, another product out there? I mean, SimpleTexting kind of speaks for itself. So you guys did a great branding job there. I got to give you
There you
kudos.
go. Yeah.
Aside from easy sign up within a couple minutes and easy to run campaigns, what else would you say to that?
Yeah, I think that's really the core of it, right? Is that we know that running a business is challenging. Look, we're all sort of running our own business in a way here at SimpleTexting, and so our goal is to take as much of that off of our customers as possible. That's one of the great things about the channel itself. Generally, is that when you're sending a message that's 160 characters long, you don't have to spend a lot of time thinking about what that campaign is going to say, right? A text message is pretty simple. So we try and take a lot of that work off of our customers, so that way they can get to running their businesses, right? We got 17,000 customers out there, plus that are using SimpleTexting, and we really help them run their business.
That's great. So what's next? So you have the AI tool. What's 5 years from now, I guess?
Yeah, 5 years is a long time out. That's for sure. Who knows what's going to happen with AI moving so quickly today? But we think a really integrated future, is the way to go, where we become sort of a central hub of the customer's day to day. Probably a little bit more so than we are today, right? Where we're bringing in more data, integrating with more systems, powering all of their channels that they're using to communicate with their customers, whether it be customer support or internal communications or sort of revenue driving activities and marketing activities, and then really turning that over into the sort of conversational space where it's very sort of one-on-one driven with customers. It's personalized, it's happening at the right time, and using new tools to help make sure that we're delivering those messages for customers.
That's great. Yeah. Nobody wants to get on a 1-800 phone line anymore. Have to listen to that elevator music just to get a simple answer.
Yeah, it's so true. I was on hold for like 2 hours the other day. So I was like, if I could just text somebody, right, how much better my life would be.
It's just an easy answer, I promise.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, I've had some tasks like that in my calendar for a while. Like I'll kick it, weeks on end because I'm like, I don't have time to get on the phone and listen to call waiting for 30 minutes to an hour. Even if I'm working on other stuff, it's still distracting to kind of listen for the operator to get on.
Yeah, that's right. And so you think about it from an efficiency perspective, right? You can answer many more text messages than you can pick up the phone and talk with somebody for 5 minutes. And just a great way to carry on a conversation. And I think the most critical part is that you're sort of getting the customer where they want to be, right? So if you want a text message customer, your business should be text enabled in some way.
That's great. Well, Sean, I really appreciate the time today. Love your guys' product. Love the branding you guys have done. Of course, SimpleTexting can't get any more obvious what you guys do. Anybody interested in this great product can check it out today in the NachoNacho B2B SaaS marketplace. We do have it available for 15% off. NachoNacho is the best place to manage, discover, and save on your SaaS. And most importantly, find great tools like Sean's company here. So feel free to check it out today. Actually, we have a question. Let's see, please have a question meeting about something. Manage these teams. Okay, we do have a question from the audience. So let's answer this real quick while we have it here, Sean.
Yeah.
Okay, so I realized they allow their employees to work from home. As a CEO, how do you manage these teams? And also, what's your take on remote working? Great question, actually.
Yeah, it is a really great question. I should have brought that up earlier myself, but yeah, we've actually been remote since day one, I think, which gave us certainly a leg up. For us, it's a very open sort of environment. So, we use Slack, right? We have for basically ever, I think, and our teams communicate there. A lot of freedom, right, to get out there and do the very best work you can. But then also some really clear expectations, I think, is important, right? So we use internally what they call the EOS or entrepreneurial operating system, is sort of to help align our teams around goals and sort of the work that needs to be done on a weekly and quarterly basis, similar to OKR framework. And that's been really helpful for us as our team has grown, just to make sure that we stay connected, right? We can set those high level goals for the business and make sure that everybody else is aware of them through the organization.
That's great. Yeah, a lot of companies are still trying to figure out remote work. Our company actually itself is pretty spread out. So we have myself in New York, and then the rest of the team in San Francisco, Mexico, and a bunch in Europe as well too. So it's been interesting managing that. But we've been really effective so far. I think just COVID kind of forced you to think outside of the box, I guess, on that one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it did for sure, right? It's something that does take work. It doesn't happen naturally. Like, you do have to be thoughtful about it, whether it be the tools that you use, how you time meetings. So I think all of that, you kind of have to sit back and you have to look at all of the things that are happening, right? If you are not remote and going remote, right? If you are remote today, what are the things that you can do to make sure that you have sort of fully empowered teams to do great work, but stay connected to the business?
Yep, totally agree. Well, thanks again, Sean. Anybody interested in this product, please do check it out today in the B2B SaaS marketplace. And stay tuned over the next couple of days. They have a really exciting announcement. So head over to their LinkedIn page and give them a like and a follow for their upcoming announcement. Once again, thank you for coming in today, Sean, and everybody else for joining Nacho Tuesday. And we'll be back again next week.
Yeah, thanks so much, Andy. Really great chatting with you today. Appreciate it.
You too, Sean. Thank you.
All right. Cheers. Bye.